Welcome everybody. So these are our first weekly office hour videos. We will do this every week during u.lab to reflect a little bit on what the main priorities are for this week, what some of the questions are that you're bringing into the course, and anything else that comes up. So to start off this week, we're going to reflect a little bit on empathy walks and talk a little bit about intention setting as it applies to where we are in the course right now. So how do we want to kick it off?
Well, we're just coming off hub host call with a number of hub hosts from around the world, and we are sharing a little bit the experiences from what's happening in various places, particularly after the live session. And I thought it was interesting, Nisek from the Basque Country, he was referring to or observing how during the live session, which was really our co-initiation moment, the intention shifted for many of the participants in his hub. So it used to be something that they formed individually as a result of the 0x, and now doing it in the context of the collective, both kind of your local community but also in the context of the global community. He said it shifted in many cases in a quite profound degree to something more profound, kind of more connected to a deeper impact. And I thought that was a really interesting observation. Also, from my experience during that moment, I really felt like there was some space when everyone was bringing in their own offering to the co-initiation, to the common intention that we are holding. You know, there was a real sense of something coming together that belongs together. So it was an interesting moment, and I really liked that observation that came up this morning. What else was interesting this morning?
Yeah, there was something else that Swati from Jaipur Rugs, who many of you heard about during the live session, had brought up, which was that so we're sitting here on MIT campus and you never know what's going to happen. So Swati at Jaipur Rugs was saying that a lot of people in the hub that she's working with, you know, the intention is still sort of unclear. So how is that going to take shape? And one of the things that I suggested was that we are just at the very beginning of this u.lab process. And a lot of people, and maybe you're one of them, you're not quite sure exactly how you want to take the next step. And what I would say is that we've designed a lot of the methods and tools and practices here in u.lab so that you can learn by doing. So you engage in the empathy walk, you engage in the coaching circles, and what your intention is may start to become more clear as you go out into the world and also reflect on yourself. So the advice would be to give it a little time to get into the practices that take you away from the computer, and not to get too stressed out just yet if what exactly you want to do with u.lab isn't quite clear.
And maybe a last point is that what really kind of the essence is of the whole u.lab journey, that really only starts fully now, kind of after the live session a few days ago, is that we learn how to pay attention to our experience individually and collectively. And of course, what matters in this sentence is, what do we mean by experience? And I always found it critical that experience is not what happens to us. Experience is what we do with what happens to us. In other words, when you engage in the empathy walk, the point is not only what happens, but you know how you engage with that, and the doing of that, the doing aspect. That has to do with opening the mind, the heart, the will, which opens up different trajectory of social and human possibility. And that requires us to deal with the obstacles, kind of with the shadow side, kind of with the voice of judgment, the voice of cynicism, the voice of fear, that inevitably kind of will come up kind of as you cross that threshold. So as you then reflect on your empathy walk experience, it's really, you really only need two things to substantially deepen your capacity of listening over the next few weeks. The first one is that you try it, you keep trying it every day. And the second one is that you review your experience with brutal honesty. And on the latter point, so here like the criteria how you can know whether or not you're operating on level 1, level 2, level 3 or level 4 with your listening and with your attention. So level 1 listening really means that you're not listening to the person in front of you, you're really listening to your inner voice, to your inner commentary. And when you start noticing that, it's actually quite shocking how often our real attention is looking to the voice inside this domain and not really to what's happening outside of us. When we really engage with the situation that we are facing, that's when we move into listen to, when my attention moves from listening to my inner commentary to really fully listening to the other person. Level 3, of course, is when our listening shifts from looking at things from outside towards tuning in, towards participating in a larger being, in a social field, by tuning into how another person, another being is experiencing that situation from a different perspective. And then the last one, has to do with whether or not I return from that situation as the same person. So if I'm still the same person, if I still have the same sense of self, I probably haven't had a level 4 experience. So level 4 experience means that I experience some subtle shift or strengthening or clarification or evolution in terms of who I really am and what's the larger pathway, the deeper and larger journey that I am part of and I am progressing on. So those would be criteria that you could apply when you monitor your own experience. And as we suggest in this week's material, if you monitor that daily, that really can take you a long way. Practice, 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 and then review every evening. And we almost can guarantee if you really do that, you will experience within the next few weeks a substantial shift in your capacity of listening. Now that sounds like a small thing, right? But the way we paying attention is really shaping how we experience reality. And that means how it really changes everything, our sense of connecting with each other, with the systems around us, and also with ourselves.
So I think that's probably pretty good for starting office hour videos. So just to wrap up, I think the main thing Otto was just referring to is the listening assessment tool, which you'll find on you probably have already found on the u.lab community site. And so that's the way that you can track your daily listening over time. The other thing that will help with really noticing your listening during the empathy walk is that you maybe by now or in the coming days can do a little reflective journaling exercise to reflect on what was really the quality of your listening during your empathy walk. And then also if you want to go a little bit deeper into some of these principles, we've posted a few different links to different readings you can do in the Theory U book and the Reading from the Emerging Future book. So have a look at all of that. And for the coming weeks, you can always submit questions to us for the office hour videos on the u.lab community site discussion board, Facebook, Twitter, any other way that you may want to get in touch with us that we've already given to you. So that's it for the week 1 office hour videos, and we'll see you in a couple of days.